Great morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is the day that the Lord has made. We are choosing to rejoice and be glad in it. I'm Angela Thornton. This is Wise Word Ministries. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, afternoon, evening to the replay fam. Thank you too for hopping on when it's most convenient for you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Hey, Ruth. Well, we are going through the very short book of Ruth. Short but impactful, powerful, lots of good stuff in it. Um, it's always interesting to see how the Lord works, how He moves and orchestrates things, and then we don't always understand what's happening, and then when it happens, we're like, oh, that's why that happened. And so, such is with Ruth. Yesterday in chapters 1 and 2, we see the story of Naomi and her husband and her sons leaving Bethlehem, where there is famine in the land during the days of the judges. And they journey to Moab. While they are in Moab, you can't hear anything. Um, go out and come back in. My sound is up, or try to refresh. Um, while they are in Moab, unfortunately, Naomi's husband and sons died. The sons who have married Moabite women died. We don't know what happened. We don't know if it was disease, they were killed. We don't know. We just know they got dead. And so you have three women, one of whom is a foreigner, in a land with no support. Because in that day, men were the security and the support. Hey, Daisy. Men were the security and the support for their family. So, um, Naomi makes the hard decision that she's going home. She's going back uh, for no other reason than there's now food in the land. It's home, there's food, my family is there, I have support. I don't know a living soul. I don't have any support here outside of my two daughters in law. So that's, the summation. And as Naomi is making her journey, hey, Tasha B, she says to them, listen, I can't stay here. And even if I did marry and had some sons, y'all gonna wait for them? I'm old. And this is your home. This is where your support is. This is where your family is. So you don't have to journey back to Bethlehem with me. Orpah, one daughter-in-law, say, bet. Deuces, love you. Good to know you. I'm going to stay here. She kisses them both, which signifies a farewell. One of them say, all right, since you insist, I'm going to stay here. The other one clings to her, Ruth, and says, I'm going wherever you go. Your God is my God. Your people, my people. Wherever you go, that's where I'm going. I know we hear all the time, everybody not meant to go with you everywhere. Well, that's true. That is true. It was not meant for Orpah to go. It was, however, part of God's redemptive plan for Ruth to make that journey. So we end with Ruth, having met Boaz, she was gleaning in the field. He noticed her. Who is this woman? She's a foreigner, invites her to glean in his field because he is aware, as she is, that others won't be so kind because she's a Moabite woman. And she then discovers that he was being kind because he knew who she was. He had heard of how good she had been to her mother-in-law. He had heard that she had left her family, her mom, her dad, her family, her friends, and followed with Naomi. Now, by this time, Naomi is bitter. She mad. God, you done brought me, let us come over here to this Moab and everybody is dead. She's angry. She's depressed. Her name, Naomi, means sweetness and pleasantness, but she's so hot and she's so depressed that she changes her name to Mara, which means bitter, because she say, listen, the Lord has done this thing to me. And then by the time you get to chapter 2, at the end, she realizes that God had not made her bitter and she is no longer depressed. And once she finds out who it was that was kind to Ruth, she goes into the matchmaking business. Well, I think I'm going to just set them up. Oh. Boaz was related to Naomi through her husband. So here hey, Arnett. So here we are. Good morning, Charlene. Here we are now in Ruth chapters 3 and 4. So Naomi is saying to Ruth, listen, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you? Should I not try to make sure that you are well cared for, since after all, you did leave family and everybody? So Naomi gets her a plan for Ruth to carry out. She said, listen, Boaz is a kinsman. The one you were with, he related to us. And he winnows barley at the threshing floor tonight. So this is what I want you to do, girl. This is what I want you to do. She hatches her up a whole plan, y'all. And she says to her, listen, girl, wash yourself up, anoint yourself, put you on, as my husband would say, some good smell. Put on your best clothes, fix your hair, all of that. And she said, now, when you go to the threshing floor, don't make yourself known. Don't make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. We need him to be, And then she says, and it will be when he lies down that you will notice the place where he goes, and you will go and uncover his feet and lie down. Then he will tell you what you should do. Now, here's where the story sometimes gets a little sticky. Because people like to assume that there was something immoral about what Ruth did or what Naomi was instructing her to do. But nothing in the passage really supports that, particularly when you understand that culture. She wasn't saying, girl, go try to chop and lay with the man. She had confidence in the integrity of Boaz. She said, he'll tell you what to do. Boaz could be trusted to act in an ethical, moral, responsible manner. He was too, after all, pretty old. He was a contemporary around the same age of Ruth. So this wasn't like she was telling her to go seduce this man. She trusted in his integrity, in his character. And Ruth was recognized by everybody, according to verse 11, as a woman of noble character. So the uncovering of the feet actually was a ceremonial act. It wasn't a sensual, sexual thing. It was a ceremonial act. And it was proper for that culture in that day. And some believe it was done at night in the dark so that he would have the opportunity to reject any proposal that might have been immoral without the whole town knowing it and then ruining her good name. So, verses 8 through 9, we know Boaz was a little startled, like, yeah, well, hold up, who at my feet? Because it said it happened in the middle of the night. The man was startled. He bent forward and the woman was laying at his feet. And he said, who are you? And she said, I'm Ruth, your maid. Spread your covering over your maid, for you are a close relative. Spread your covering over your maid, for you are a close relative. Cover me, protect me, not have sex with me. Not that she was saying, have sex with me. You are a close relative. You are a redeemer. He covered her before he even had an opportunity to marry her. If you notice earlier in chapter 2, he covered her again when he allowed her to glean, told his maids, don't y'all be mean to her, and then said to her, stay here in this field because you all will be taken care of. You can get food, because in another field, they're probably not going to be so nice to you. So we get down to 10 through 15, and, he says, may you be blessed of the Lord, my daughter. Clearly, he's not trying to have sex with her right now. He said, my daughter, may you be blessed of the Lord. You have shown your last kindness to be better than the first by not going after young men, whether rich or poor. You have shown to be a woman of integrity and character. You're not trying to be a town floozy, finding a man with some money. Young man, because you cute and everything. He says, and now my daughter, don't fear. I will do whatever you ask, for all my people in the city know that you are a woman of excellence. What do you need? And now it is true. I am a close relative. I am a redeemer. However, there is a relative closer than me. Here again, we see his integrity. He says, I am a close relative. And when you look that word up, it meant redeemer. But there is a relative who is even closer than I am. And Boaz was not the man that was going to attempt to usurp the rightful place and position of the relative who was closer. He said, but go ahead, stay here tonight. Stay here. Because there's somebody else that got first dibs on you, got first claim. Remember, in this culture, it was very patriarchal. And there's somebody else that got first claim on you. And he did not suggest that she embarrassed him. He did not suggest that she had done anything wrong, that she had gone against the customs of the day. He did not have any suggestive thoughts like, ooh la la. It wasn't that at all. He said, the Lord bless you. And he said, my daughter, which reminds you of their age difference. She wasn't his contemporary. She was his junior. He commended her for her loyalty, her act of kindness and how she was serving her mother-in-law, because she could have gone out and found somebody younger with a bunch of money. And she and her mother-in-law would have been cared for. But that wasn't the providential plan of God. And so he says to her, I'm going to do whatever you ask. And it is believed that he might have been a little apprehensive how she would think that he was interpreting her proposal. And he said to her, listen, everybody in town, all the people at the gate, the elders, they all know you have a high reputation, that you are a woman of character. You are a woman of valor. You are a woman of great worth. So what does Boaz do? She would, he said, give me the cloak that's on you and hold it. She did. He measured it, the barley, and put barley in it, and she went on home. Told Naomi what happened. She said, these 6 measures of barley he gave to me, for he said, do not go home empty-handed. I know your mother-in-law sent you over here, so I'm going to send you back with something. And she said, wait, my daughter, until you know how the matter turns out. Don't give up yet. Wait till you know, Ruth, how the matter turns out. For the man will not rest until he has settled it today. That's chapter 3. This was not some sexual, immoral, illicit something going on. She did what was cultural, as did he. And they both acted with integrity and character, good character. So then we get to chapter 4. So Boaz, being the man of character that he is, he go out to the city gate where all the decisions seem to be made. Everybody sitting around. And there was the relative who was closer to Ruth and Naomi than was he. Now here's where the story gets good. And here's where I need y'all to really pay attention so we can stop telling these young women to wait on their Boaz. He speaks, sees the relative. He turns around and says, hey, friend, sit down. He took 10 men of the elders and he said, now y'all sit here too. Everybody's sitting because Boaz about to speak. He had that kind of authority in the community. So he says to the relative who was closest, the one who by right should be Ruth's redeemer. He says, listen, Naomi has come back from Moab, and she has to sell a piece of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. So I want to inform you by saying, buy it, land, before those who are sitting here and before the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. If not, tell me so I will know, because there's no one but you to redeem it, and I am after you. And then the closer relative said, I will redeem it. I'm going to buy the land, because we got to make sure that Naomi is straight. And then Boaz throws in this little caveat, this little part that he didn't say first. He said, oh, and by the way, when you buy that field, when you buy the field, you must also acquire. This is a transaction. You must also acquire Ruth, the Moabitess, the widow of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. Maybe it's a twofer. It's a package deal. When you buy this land, you got to also acquire Ruth. You must. She come with it. The closest relative said, pump the brakes, hold up. What? Say what now? Say what? I got to do say who, what? When, where, how? He says, oh, no. Oh, no. I cannot redeem it for myself. Because if I do, I'm going to jeopardize my own inheritance. And I am not trying to mess up my own inheritance. It is a legal transaction. And it wasn't finalized by signing papers. It was a dramatic and symbolic act that others would witness and remember. So it was the passing of the sandal in that culture. He says, listen, you, Boaz, may have my right of redemption, because I can't redeem it. I can't do it. He said, when he heard about that stipulation of marriage, brother said, time out. Hold on. because my own estate might be damaged. Well, she'd mess around and have a son. Ah, no, 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 no. He went from I will redeem it to I cannot redeem it. We don't know if maybe he was too poor to sustain the land and the wife. Maybe he didn't want to marry the Moabites. And just maybe he wanted to say, listen, I want to keep what belongs to my line, my lineage of this here people straight. I'm not trying to do all this mixing up. It was the custom in those days that the exchange of land to confirm a matter. It was the custom in Israel concerning redemption and the exchange of land to confirm any manner. A man removed his sandal and gave it to another one. He said, I know Boaz probably won't throw that sandal. Not on, buddy. Not doing it. The closest relative says to Boaz, buy it for yourself. He took off his sandal. Here you go. Buy it for yourself. I'm relinquishing all rights to this here land. Boaz says to the elders and all the people, y'all are witnesses. You have seen it, the transaction. Thus, Boaz takes possession of Naomi's property and he acquires Ruth, the Moabitess. He acquires her. He obtained her. He basically purchased her. He got her. She came with the deal. It was a transaction. This ain't some deep love story. He acquired Ruth. He did not, there was no reluctance for him to call her a Moabitess. That's what she was. But he knew that she was a worthy person. Boaz is like, well, we have a son, we're going to, and what this did was continue the name of Elimelech, his cousin. So now there is someone to carry on the heritage and the name so that their name would not be wiped out among their people. Boaz did what was honorable. So it assumed that with Ruth, Boaz took that responsibility also for Naomi because they came together. The elders witnessed everything. He said, listen, Boaz said to the elders, I have bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to both of her sons. Moreover, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, to be my wife in order to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance. This is why he did it. This wasn't something he saw her and he just got googly-eyed. He did it to raise up the name of the deceased on his inheritance, so the name of the deceased may not be cut off from his brothers or from the court of his birthplace. And he says, y'all are witnesses to this day. I just want everybody to know. The elders prayed that Boaz would have standing in town, Epaphras, because he was worthy. The elders who were willing to witness the redemption transaction blessed Boaz and they said they wanted Ruth to be fertile. I'm going to tell you, see, this is not what we think. And they said, we are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, both of whom built the house of Israel. And may you achieve wealth in Epaphras and become famous in Bethlehem. So now they are pronouncing a blessing because he has done what is honorable. And they are saying, listen, we want you to be just like Jacob. We want her to be like Leah and Rachel. They had a bunch of children. They built the house of Israel. They pronounced the blessing of even greater wealth on him and even greater fame and authority and integrity and influence. Moreover, may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah through the offspring which the Lord shall give you by this young woman. They are from the line of Judah. May your house, he said. So Boaz took Ruth and she became his wife. Now, where do y'all see some great deep love story? Now, we don't know that at some point he did love her, but there ain't no deep love story here. And it says he went into her, and the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women said to Naomi, blessed is the Lord who has not left you without a redeemer today, and may his name become famous in Israel. And may he also be to you a restorer of life and a sustainer of your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons has given birth to him. Naomi took the child, laid him in her lap, and became his nurse. The neighbor women named him. Ruth nor Naomi named this child. The neighbor women named him. A son has been born to Naomi, so they named him Obed. Obed, by the way, is the father of Jesse, who, by the way, is the father of David. Boaz's parents were Rahab the harlot. Now to these generations of Perez was born, and they go on and name them. Rahab, Salmon and Rahab were parents to Boaz. This was not a great love story. And according to Jewish history, if you go and start reading some of the Jewish commentaries and Jewish history, Boaz died the next night. I like to laugh and say, his heart couldn't take that strain. I couldn't take that strain. Boaz died the next night. But he fulfilled the purpose that the Lord had intended for him to fulfill. That is the story, good people, of Ruth and Boaz. So as you see, it is not some deep and abiding love story. It literally is a story of redemption. Y'all good? We good? So when we think about what redemption really looks like, the one who redeemed us, it is perfect to lead into our communion. The one who redeemed us was also our kinsman redeemer, just like Boaz was Ruth's kinsman redeemer. The beauty is, Jesus, who redeemed us, never had to ask somebody else. The beauty is, he never said, nah, I can't redeem them because that might mess up what I got going on. He willingly came and he willingly died. He willingly redeemed us by his blood. And so while we see Boaz as a kinsman redeemer, as a type for what was to come, Boaz redeemed one woman. Jesus redeemed the world. And so as we prepare for our communion, we can be grateful and think about this beautiful picture of redemption and what redemption truly looks like. What redemption truly looks like when the Lord says, I will redeem you. I will redeem you. I believe in love. But as we see, this was not about love. This was redemption. This was about ensuring that a lineage was maintained, that a name was not wiped out, that a history and a story. And it was done according to the will and the way of the Lord. And here's the thing. We don't see the word God in Ruth. Well, we do. She said, the Lord did this to me. But nobody says, the Lord spoke to me, the word of the Lord came to me, the Lord said. We don't see that. We just see a man doing what was honorable and what was right, and God working out the rest. And so when we think about Jesus and his final supper, and he takes the bread and he has given thanks and he broke it and he said, this is my body for you. Do it in remembrance of me. The power of the redemption that is to come from that selfless act, is that we have all been redeemed. We have all been acquired. We have all been paid for. You may eat. And then he says to them, listen, take this cup. It's the blood of my covenant. It was poured out for the forgiveness of sins. Boaz's redemption could not remove any sin that Ruth had done. It saved the lineage. It couldn't save a soul. And so we are grateful for the blood that was shed on Calvary's cross. You may drink. That it was done for the forgiveness, the remission of sins. So you don't have to keep walking around. How about that? What greater love than that? Our devotional reading for today. When you are touched by heaven, all momentum switches in your favor. You are no longer the one carrying the world on your shoulders. You're no longer depending on your talents, knowledge, or abilities to make your dreams come true. Now my power flows through your life. Whew. My power flows through your words and actions, silencing the skeptics and critics. Because you spend intimate time with me, it will be visible to the naked eye. For every moment you spend in communion with me, another level of power will manifest in your life. Take time each day to be alone with me. Find solitary places from everyone where the outside world can't reach you. Live alone for a few hours a day. Make time. It's critical to your future and legacy. Never underestimate the power of being with me. Let my spirit rub off on you. Let it resonate with your dreams and your personality. Let it unfetter your soul and untie the thoughts of your heart. Peace, power, and triumph are yours when you are touched by heaven. So tomorrow, because it's International Women's Month, and tomorrow we will look at, I think Daisy asked us to look at Deborah. And one of my favorite women of the Bible, her name is Huldah. You may or may not have heard of her. But she prophesied during the same time that Jeremiah prophesied. So tomorrow we will look and see how the Lord used those two women for his people. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you in the morning. Bye-bye. Ooh, I can't wait till we do, our girl in the New Testament. Be blessed.